aviation gives us that really real fine grain of destinations for for people to actually have a useful service. Sure, the industry will start with existing airports and heliports. This is the low-hanging fruit. But if that's all it does, we've got an evolution of the helicopter. We don't have a revolution. The revolution only comes when we have new vertiports outside of existing aviation infrastructure. So yes, we need the big vertiports and airports and FBOs to be the backbone. But that's just the start. The real revolution comes for in the tiny single pad destinations that we can hopefully achieve. So at Skyportz, we're working on a product. We've got a patent which we've been working on. There's about a dozen things in the patent. We've decided that we want to do something that actually does something of benefit for rather than just painting a circle on a bit of tarmac. So the first four things we're looking at: turbulence, reducing property footprint, firefighting, and noise suppression. So I'll just quickly go through. This is our prototype production model, which was only released last week at the eVTOL show. This is containerized, put together without any lifting equipment, and can be disassembled and moved. So there's a number of features in this pad, and I'll just very quickly go through this. So downwash and outwash control is the really big showstopper. So we cannot put vertiports in densely populated areas because of the downwash and outwash issue. The OEMs don't really want to talk about it, but there are plenty of people who are talking about it, like David Ison, who's written an amazing paper on it. And basically, the big eVTOLs have a downwash and outwash which is stronger than helicopters of similar sizes. So, and we need to get that wind down to 34.5 miles per hour under the FAA engineering brief, and that could mean an extra 50 to 100 meters around a FATO to get to that level. So it's an issue that needs to be addressed. You can address it with lots of land, but that's going to be expensive, even if you can find the land. So this is what the FAA put out back in January, their engineering brief. They've actually put the flag on in the sand about the 34.5 miles per hour. So this is the target that we're working towards. I will just quickly show you this short clip, and I'll fast forward it because to the bit I want to show you about. This is when you land on a flat surface, the air that shoots across the runway at fast speed. This is our vertipad surface, so it's about a 1 meter square section you're looking at here. You can see we're breaking up the vortices. We're creating a magnetic effect underneath the pad and robbing the energy from the outwash and downwash. So if you compare it against the two, we're getting a 2.5 times faster we can dissipate that energy. So the pad basically pays for itself because it's only going to be a couple of $100,000, and the cost of the land to provide the safety zone will be significantly more than that. So we reduce the property footprint, and that helps with the capital costs, and it helps for property owners to decide that they can be part of this. They can provide the land and provide the destinations for the flying public. Noise reduction is a big issue. We need to be able to tell the community that we're doing what we can for noise. We've just made an announcement today with Bristol University that they're going to be working with us and our researchers in Australia on noise reduction, and we're getting some great results which we'll be quantifying in the coming months as to how much we can reduce the noise if people use our pad. The final big showstopper is fire. Now, this is another one nobody wants to talk about. You talk to the battery. I've been at conferences with battery experts. There is no way to put out a battery fire by putting foam or water on it. You actually need to submerge the battery, and that is the only way that you can put out a battery fire. Now, the property industry is very concerned about this. They're interested in having vertiports, but they don't want to have an aircraft that catches fire, and they're told, clear the building, let it burn. It'll take 12 hours, maybe a day, and then we can remove it. So we want to have a system whereby we can quickly put out the fire. And David Ison, a very well-respected commentator and critic of the industry, has made this statement that what we've got here is actually the only solution that is like. Sorry about the volume of this, but this is just to give you an idea of the concept. So the concept is a battery catches fire, and the aircraft can drop into a tank below. So this is And the other benefit of that is you're containing the toxic waste in a single container. Um, we've got another iteration of our patent which has multiple levels that go up and down. So this helps us with dealing with different aircraft, so we can work with different OEMs to maximize the downwash and outwash amelioration based on their particular aircraft. And we're looking forward to partnering with other aircraft on that. The benefit of this version, and this came after a discussion with JFK Airport, that we can actually come to the ground level and roll the aircraft off the pad, which you can't do on the elevated version. The fire solution here, you drop everything to the ground level and you're basically filling up an empty swimming pool. So it's a very simple solution that we patented this design around the world, and this is we think is going to be a standard that's going to be required. Um, I won't show that animation because I think I'm pushed for time. But just to conclude, we are very interested in others joining our program. We see the next year or so as testing and refining our prototypes. The prototype's going to be built such that we can remove and change the surfaces, which is the secret sauce we're developing for the pad. Um, and we are very interested in putting our pad with regulators, OEMs, vertiport operators, and we've got a couple of announcements to make soon with some sites in the US and in Europe and Australia. And we'd be very interested if anybody on this call has a test bed that they're interested in being part of our R&D. We want to collaborate with all the safety regulators around the world and come up with a global product that's accepted as a standard. And that's what we'd like to invite people, other vertiport operators. You're our customers. We're not competitors. We're basically selling a product. We're not aiming to be